we want your questions. We want you to tell us and ask us what you would like us to help you with. So you have a question bar on there. So during the show, please get your questions in, and I will be sure to relay them on to our people that are with us today. And of course, we have Mike Macedonio, the best-selling author, entrepreneur, and co-founder of Asentiv. And Eddie Esposito is missing this month. He is actually off, and he is traveling the world. He's in Dubai working with some Asentiv people out there. So Eddie, if you happen to be watching, we do miss you, and we look forward to having you back next month. But we have a very special guest with us today, and that is Dr. Ivan Misner. And you know, CNN has named him the father of modern networking, and we are so happy to have him here. He is also the founder of BNI and the co-founder of Asentiv. So guys, hi.
Hey, Nanette.
Hey, good to have you. So our topic today is going to be about scalability in your business, and Ivan's going to be really talking about with Mike how he grew his BNI business from garage to global. And so with that, I'm going to pass it off to them and let you enjoy everything they have to share with you.
Thank you, Nanette. Will you just help me with the slide presentation? If you put up the next slide.
Okay.
And this is about going from garage to global, and it is about scaling your business. Now, although there's many different ways that you can scale a business, there are certain things, and we're going to cover at least 4 major principles that should be in place or need to be in place to even consider moving to that next level of a scalable business. And what Ivan and I have done is selected 4 what we consider critical scalable principles that are necessary. But before we do that, I'd really like to hear from Ivan about how he went from a business in his garage to a global organization. Ivan, if we can have that story from you.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. If you could, Nanette, go to the next slide. This is really, I think, what every business is trying to achieve, is creating a scalable business. Moving literally from, a small office or a garage to a global office. And when I started BNI in 1985, it was literally in my garage. So when we talk about going from garage to global, I have some personal experience in doing just that. BNI operated out of a small spare room, not a bedroom, but a spare room, a bonus room, just above the garage, and part of the garage where we made all the new member packets. Today, BNI now has 4 corporate offices where we have thousands of chapters in hundreds of thousands of members all around the world. Our corporate headquarters is now in Charlotte, North Carolina. And so we have literally taken a small home-based business. When I started BNI, we were home-based. There was no such thing as a home-based business license. Didn't exist. I could not join the Chamber of Commerce because I was a home-based business. Now that changed a few years later, but I literally, it was the dark ages for starting a business, I think. So my goal was to do the things necessary to take it from my garage to becoming a much larger organization, and I think we did reasonably well. If you want to take a look at the next slide. This is the growth for BNI over a 30-year period. This is the cumulative number of members. And what we're going to talk about today are some of the things that we think are important if you want to scale a business. You want to scale a business, there's these 4 things that we're going to talk about. We're going to be talking about working on the business, not just in the business. We're going to be talking about creating a vision. We're going to be talking about knowing your numbers. I'm going to talk about collaboration. And we just might have a bonus round or 2 if there's enough time. So with that, let's go to the next slide, and over to you, Mike.
Yeah, so there are different ways that we could be scaling our business. These are a sample of few: multi-unit franchising, partnering, licenses, and there are other scalable models. Regardless of what model you're going to choose to move your company forward, the 4 principles Ivan just mentioned are going to be necessary regardless of the model that you use. This may be a topic we pick up on another webinar, but today we want to talk about what are the things we need now before even moving into a scalable model. So, Ivan, let's start off with the first one, and that is working on your business, not in your business.
Yeah, and by the way, the way you lined that up, you can go to the next slide, Nanette. The way you lined that up is perfect, because you remember, before I even started franchising, either the predecessor of Asentiv, Referral Institute, or BNI, we were operating for several years. BNI operated for 7 years before we started the franchise. So before you start thinking about all of that, you need to build a business that's scalable before choosing those other kinds of alternatives. And the first thing to consider is this concept of working on your business, not in your business. Now, you might want to mute yourself. We're hearing all the paper shuffling.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
That's all right. So I read a book that I highly recommend called The E-Myth by Michael Gerber. And I read that soon after I started BNI. And in The E-Myth, he talks about the importance of working on your business, not just in your business. Well, what is working on your business? Working on your business is, sort of the 60,000-foot view. You're really high looking down on what's going on in the organization. Working in the business is doing the accounting, doing the customer service directly, handling the manufacturing directly. You're out there in the factory, in the warehouse. Now look, it's important to know those things, but at some point, if you want to scale, you must learn how to delegate. Delegation is critical if you want to scale a business. And I'm going to give you something to consider when you start delegating and learning how to work on the business, not in the business. When you delegate, remember to always give not only responsibility, but authority. When you delegate, give both responsibility and authority to the person you're delegating to. Now, that means that if you give someone a task, they're responsible for doing that. But then you must give them the authority to make those decisions. So if you give them a task and you say, here's your task, but you got to come to me for all the answers, you're not delegating. You're not delegating the important stuff. Now, I get it. Sometimes you have people who are in the learner mode. They're learning how to do it. There, what you want to do is give them parameters. So you say anything from here to here, you just handle it yourself. And if you make a mistake, that's fine. Let's talk about it. But anything from here to here, you got to come to see. You got to see me, and I'll deal with that. And then as you learn, I'm going to give you more and more responsibility until it's a point where only issues that are maybe this amount of money or this kind of a problem you bring to me. Otherwise, you have both the responsibility and the authority to handle that kind of problem. So working on your business means delegating, and delegating effectively means giving people responsibility and the authority to do that. These are the kinds of things that working on your business is all about. And the book, again, is called The E-Myth by Michael Gerber. I've had a chance to meet Michael many times. Mike Macedonio was at my house in Big Bear when Michael Gerber came up and spent several days with us on the Asentiv team, giving us some great information. It's been fantastic. I read that book. He was an icon to me. To be able to meet him 25 years later was fantastic, and he and I remain good friends today. Highly recommend the book, The E-Myth. Mike?
Yeah, I took this page out of your book, Ivan. You kind of coached me in the beginning that I know we're young, I know we're just starting this company, but you need an organization chart. And it was a very interesting organization chart. You know what? You and I were at the top of that chart, and then there was a lot of boxes underneath of all the functions, and I was in all the boxes. And today I'm still in a few more boxes than I should be, but now we got the co-owners, Dawn Lyons, Eddie Esposito, yourself. They are taking some of those roles. And now I look at the organization chart and I can see where a lot of these different functions have been outsourced. So we have other companies or other people supporting us. So my name's becoming removed from some of these spots, and I got that from you because you told me that's how you started.
It is. That's a great point. I started with an organization chart that had about 15 boxes in it, and at the top it was Ivan Misner, founder, and it was vice president of marketing, and then it was customer service, and the bottom was janitor. And I was, out of these 15 boxes, I was in about 12 of them. My goal as I hired people and trained them was to take my name out of those boxes and put someone else's name in those boxes. By the way, if you do this, and I recommend it, it's a great technique that to help create the vision to scale your business. If you do that, keep the org chart. When I was done and I achieved that, I said, "Yay, I'm all done," and I threw it out. Today, if I'd have kept that, I would frame it and I would put it on my wall. Because what I did was I scratched my name out and I wrote the new name of the person who took over that role from me. I think it's really powerful to not only do that exercise. What I didn't do was keep that exercise. I would do that exercise and keep that exercise. It's really helpful for you envisioning where you want to go and then remembering how you got there.
Yeah.
Great.
And then the number one box, Ivan, to get removed from is shipping.
Yeah, it really is. Shipping. I remember the day that I went out to the shipping department and I had no idea how to use the equipment. I just wanted to send a letter and I had no idea how to send a letter. And I remember sitting there thinking, "Oh God, I don't even know how to use the equipment." And I thought, that's really actually a good thing. I'm working more on it than in it. So yeah, good point.
Let's go on to the next topic then.
Okay, next slide, please. The next slide, I think, is a really important slide, and it's creating a larger vision for your company. Now, look, you may be a small business, and you may have been around. Well, first of all, let's say you're a small business and you're starting out, and you think, "What do I need a vision for?" This is me. I'm here to tell you that's the best time to do it. Now, you may be a small business and you've been around for 5 or 10 years. And you're thinking, I've already been doing this for 5 or 10 years. Why do I need it now? You still need it. There's a great old Chinese proverb that I really like. It's when's the best time to plant an oak tree? The answer is 25 years ago. When's the second best time? Today. So if you haven't created a vision for your company, do it now. Even if you're small, create a vision for your company. Because as you hire people, we're talking about scaling your company. If you want to scale your company, your people have to understand your vision, your mission, and your core values. And it all begins with the vision. And the vision needs to be a big statement. It needs to be a big, hairy, audacious goal or statement. For BNI, our vision statement is changing the way the world does business. Will we ever change the way the world does business? Well, I don't know if we'll change the whole world, but we'll make a dent in the world. And that's what we're trying to do with our vision statement. What's Asentiv's vision statement? You want to share that, Mike? I'm kind of putting you on the spot there.
Well, no. And boiling it all down is help people create an amazing business and a spectacular life. Yeah. And that they're completely intertwined. This topic about vision is so critical. It's not just having big goals. It's about literally having in your mind's eye, okay, what it looks like, feels like, smells like, looks like, and it's really creating a big. I like to also think of it as a daydream. And once that becomes solidified and real for you, and you start communicating that to your stakeholders, it becomes real for them. And that's really the power of the vision. Ivan, I hope you don't mind me telling this story, but Ivan, very early on in the center, this was probably 2004, invited me to his home. We were having a partners meeting, and at the time I lived on the East Coast, so we made a trip out to California, and Ivan told me, he goes, "I got a surprise for you on the last day, but I can't tell you what it is." Okay. And this went on for months, but I can't tell you what it is, but, wear comfortable shoes, and, And this was going on, and get up that morning, and next thing you know, we're getting driven, and the next thing you know, on a tarmac. And I'm like, well, what's going on? And I'm thinking maybe a helicopter is going to come to pick us up. And it was a private jet. And what Ivan had done is he had rented a private jet for us for the day, and he took us on this amazing adventure. And again, when we got on the plane, didn't even know where we were going still. until the pilot said it was going to be a 45-minute flight, and I'm thinking, well, we can't go west because that's the ocean, and I don't think we're going to Mexico. Maybe we're going to Vegas, and as it turned out, we went to Napa Valley. And anyways, at the end of the day, Ivan's conversation to me, he says, the reason I did this is I want you to picture and feel and see what it could look like to have an amazing, incredible business. Now, I don't have this, and this is not something we do every day, but just pushing it out that far. And I'll tell you, it had a big impact. That experience that day really got me thinking, it's like, wow, I don't live like this. I've never even thought about living like this, but this is what it's like. And really started to expand the way I looked at what we could be creating together.
Well, thanks for sharing that, Mike. And I want you to remember the order that he put that in. We first spent a number of days talking about where we wanted the company to go. We ended with this. And so you have to remember that creating a larger vision is about creating something that's a unifying concept for you or your employees, possibly even your clients, something that resonates with people and creates a long-term vision for the company. My goal on that day was, on that week, was first to talk about where we could go and how we're going to get there, to create a vision, kind of a vision statement or vision idea for the company. And then we ended that session, those days, with what could come about if we were to achieve that kind of vision. And so it's, if you have the wherewithal to do some kind of exciting thing at the end of a several-day retreat for your business, do that, because it makes you see what's possible to come down the road.
So you were talking about saving your organization chart. I still can't locate this, but there was a picture of you and I taken in front of the jet, and I had used that in one of my presentations, and one of my clients took that picture and, as a designer, wrote the name of our company, Referral Institute, on the side of the jet.
Yeah.
And
I have that photo. I can find it for you, Mike.
Oh, that'd be great. And some other people had saw it, and they're like, I can't believe you already have a private jet. Like, no, that's not ours.
No, not mine either. So, great. You want to go to the next slide, please? Okay. No, one up. Know your numbers. There we go. So, know your numbers. No, really. I mean, know your numbers. And I'm sure Mike is going to agree with this. People will say to me, yeah, I know my numbers. I bet you don't. I honestly, to be candid with you, I thought I knew our numbers until I brought in a new CEO at BNI. And let me tell you something. He's taught me a lot about what it really means to know your numbers. In BNI, I can tell you to the member how many members we have as of yesterday. We get a daily report, seriously, a daily report on the total number of members in the organization. So that I can tell you as of yesterday, we have 213,894 members in BNI as of yesterday. Furthermore, I can tell you that we have 288 more members than we did at the end of the month, February 28th. 288 more members. Our chapter count as of yesterday was 7,889. That's 20 chapters more than we had as of February 28th. This is what I'm talking about with knowing your numbers. And when I say knowing your numbers, most people assume it's the financials. And yes, you should know your financials, without a doubt. That's a given. Businesses go out of business when they don't understand their cash flow and their profit loss statement. So you have to understand your financials, but you also need to know your other numbers. And so one of the things that you have to do to scale a business is develop what are called KSFs, key success factors. Key success factors. And people come up with a laundry list of like 10 things. No, don't come up with a laundry list of 10 things. It should be 3, maybe 4. There's no way it should be more than 5. 3 or 4 KSFs. These are factors that are absolutely critical for your business to be successful. They are, in fact, the key success factors of your business. And then you have to measure them. If not daily, you definitely want to measure them monthly or weekly. How are you on these numbers? And again, I'm not talking about financial numbers. That's separate, and you should know those. I'm talking about key success factors. It might be the number of clients. It might be the average dollar value of a client. It may be the number of new clients acquired in a month. Every business is a little bit different. And so you've got to develop your key success factors. By the way, it's okay to change them over time. I found that as I go to business, I learned that, you know what, this really isn't my key success factor, it's this. And so it's okay to make adjustments and tweaks to your processes. But once you have those nailed down, you need to watch them like a hawk, because they will tell you immediately whether your business is suffering or not. You want to scale your business, know your numbers. I mean, really know your numbers. Mike?
Yeah. I know I've been, over the past 3 years, I have consulted with over 150 businesses. And in doing that, I use a business intake form to start the conversation. And this right here is one of the 4 things that I noticed from people that are struggling and people that are thriving. Okay, one of the 4 things that was consistent. And when I say doing better, I'm not talking about somebody that's doing a little bit better or twice as good. I'm talking about people that were doing $30,000 compared to their counterparts doing $300,000. And one of the most noticeable things is when they came to the table, they knew their numbers. If one of those prospect conversions, it wasn't around 50%. It was 37.4. When we were talking about the average client and the different services and products, it wasn't around a 3-figure number. Okay, it was broken down to the single dollar, and they really did absolutely, like you said, they knew their numbers, and they knew them well. And this is it. This is it right here. When people are making assumptions, what I typically find is when we really go down and drill into the facts, they could be off as much as half. You know, my conversion is 50%, and then we really drill down all the no's that they say and the clients, the prospects say, we find out it's about 24.6. Now that's going to affect your business.
Yeah, big time. And you're operating under false assumptions if your numbers are that far off.
Yeah. You know, Ivan, you talk about scaling. Here's where really, before you can scale, if you don't know your numbers, okay, you can put yourself in a position where scaling will hurt you.
Yeah.
For example, in your pricing, in your costing, if you're, for example, working out of a garage and then you're trying to scale it, and it's going to involve having an office building, knowing those numbers, knowing your numbers to make it scalable, that has to be factored into your scaling model. That has to be factored into your new pricing.
Right.
So, yeah, the pricing for the scalable model is as important when you're small as when you're large.
Yes, absolutely. And in many ways, it might even be more important because you probably don't have the resources that you do when you're large. I could make, when my business was large, and it is, but as a large business, I can make a mistake where if I'd have made that same mistake in the first 2 years, I would have never made it to year 3. Because I had the resources at 30 years to be able to make up for the mistake I made than when I was at 1 or 2 years old as a business. And so knowing your numbers as a small business is even more important because you don't have the resources to absorb errors like you do if you're larger. Now, even larger companies, they make big errors, and that can be similar, but still you have better resources as a larger business. So it's very important, even as small businesses, to know your numbers. All right, we ready to go to the next one?
I have a question for the vision. Would you like it now or wait till the end?
Let's wait till the end if you're okay with that.
That's perfectly fine.
Great.
Next slide.
Collaboration. So I'll be short on this. I know, Mike, you've got a fair amount, and then we're going to start tackling questions. If you have a question, please put it in your dashboard, and we'd love to read your question, or if, I don't know, Nanette, if you're opening your mics, either way, if you have a question, let us know. We're happy to take your questions. So collaboration. We're going to talk about two kinds of collaboration. We're going to talk about internal collaboration. We're going to talk about external collaboration. Let me touch upon the internal, and I'll turn it over to you. I have always believed that culture eats strategy for breakfast. Culture eats strategy for breakfast. If you are part of an organization with a great organizational culture and a marginal strategy, you'll do okay. If you're part of a company with a great strategy and a marginal culture, you'll probably fail. If you're part of a company with a great strategy and a great culture, you'll be the industry leader. And for me, one of the things that's really important to create a healthy organizational culture is collaboration. And there may be different things for different people, but for me, collaboration is really important to get everyone rowing in the same direction at the same time, at the same pace. You know, if you see these rowers on the slide, if just one rower is off on the cadence, on the rowing stride, just one, it'll throw the whole team off. And so your collaboration is about working together. If all the people in an organization row in the same direction, that organization can dominate any industry in any market against any competition at any time. B&I and Asentiv, we are dominating the areas that we're in because of a shared vision and a shared implementation of that vision, and that comes through collaboration. Mike?
Yeah. There's certainly collaboration inside the organization, as there is collaboration outside of the organization. And I don't think there's any business owners that are on this call right now, if they're associated with us with Asentiv, who don't understand the power of that. That's why we establish networks. That's why we want to have people that are part of our network that can support us both with services. They're part of our support network, and they're also part, of course, our referral network. You know, at Asentiv, we do outsource a lot, and when we're selecting these vendors, we're not looking at people that are just going to provide a service for us at a great price. We look for people that are going to be long-term committed to them. And this is really a big part of our success in how we operate. And so when you're considering scaling your business, okay, you are going to need more resources, and start now. Start now looking for those people that you can collaborate with, not just now, but for the long term. Because they believe in your vision, they see their vision, and they can see how their organization can work with you when you achieve that vision.
Okay. I agree. I have nothing to add. That's collaboration is important. So these are 4 things that we think you need to do in order to scale your business. Is there more? Yeah. But these are really important. And if you do these 4 and you do them well, you're on the road to scaling your business, I think, quite effectively. So with that, why don't we open it up for some questions, and then if we have time, we might throw in a bonus scale concept as well, a bonus 1 or 2. So what questions do we have, Nanette?
I had to unmute myself. So the first question is from Jenny, and it says, what is one of the best vision statements you have seen?
Look, there are a lot of vision statements. When I created both the B&I vision statement and worked with Asentiv in creating theirs, we looked at many different statements. You can get on Google and find them pretty easily. Rather than give you another organization, although you might have one, Mike, let me give you a strategy for creating a good vision statement. First of all, it should be short. It should be memorable. It should be something that people can memorize pretty darn easily. A couple of sentences at the most. B&I is changing the way the world does business. Asentiv is in the spectacular, amazing business, spectacular life. Those are really easy things to remember. Let's talk about the difference between a vision statement and a mission statement. It's important to understand the difference. The vision statement is your what. This is what you want to do in the world. We want in Asentiv to create an amazing business and a spectacular life. The mission statement is the how. How are you going to do that? Be specific. And it is probably more than a sentence or two. That's probably 3 sentences, possibly more, 4 sentences. You don't want to make something that's paragraphs long, but it's oftentimes a little bit more. So your vision statement is the what. What is it that you want to accomplish? Your mission statement is the how. How are you going to go about doing it? Is there anything you'd add to that, Mike?
Yeah, those are good points about the vision and the mission. And I also want to point out that the vision statement is something you can publish and share, and the vision is much bigger than that. Okay, the vision is much more extensive. It's longer. For those people that are working with Asentiv, we have a template and a formula we use to help people create that vision, but it tells a story about where you're going that becomes compelling. It becomes something that people, when they resonate with that vision, they want to be part of that. Mm-hmm. Okay, this is what I'm going, and this is what I'm going to be doing, and this is how I want to be impacting the world, and people say, yes, me too. And it's inspiring, and it's, again, inviting. And that does get broken down. It can be like ours is within that big vision of where we're going and what we're doing, we want to help people create an amazing business and spectacular life. And then, like Ivan said, great, now how do you support that with a mission? And the mission is how you're going to do it. And I also find a lot of value in my mission in creating a how we're not going to do it. Okay, along with a business mission, I also have a personal mission. My personal mission is to orchestrate peak life experiences for others and myself. So I want to orchestrate them, but I also want to participate in peak life experiences, whether it's starting a business, going mountain climbing, going on an adventurous bike ride, but create an amazing business, a spectacular life is my business vision, but my personal mission also fits with that business mission.
And you brought up a good point, Mike. You said, vision statement can be short, but your vision plan is longer, and that's a good differentiation. The plan for how you're going to carry out that vision and understanding your vision can be longer, and we certainly do that in Asentiv. And so we're talking about 2 different elements of the vision plan and statement.
So we have another question here. What are some of the key challenges that a business owner will have to overcome when scaling the business?
So I'll tackle that first, if you don't mind, Mike. I think the 4 that we talked about are key challenges. These really, truly are key challenges, but there are more. So in addition to creating that vision and collaboration and the other 2 items that we talked about, knowing your numbers. In addition to these things, these are some of the problems. We have a bonus 1 or 2, and I'll throw one of them at you right now. I think this is probably the biggest mistake that businesses make, particularly solopreneurs or small businesses. You want to be successful in business, do 6 things 1,000 times, not 1,000 things 6 times. Sometimes I just want to grab people by the shoulders and shake them and say, what is wrong with you? And these are people who I've said they know, yeah, I know, do 6 things 1,000 times, I know. But look at this new bright shiny object. This is going to be incredible. Stop it. Stop it. Do a handful of things over and over consistently. Now, does it have to be 6? No, it doesn't have to be 6. It can be 5. It can be 7. The key here is do a handful of things and do them over and over. Well, which 6 things? Okay. First, if you're part of a larger organization, you can find mentors who will help you. People who have been very successful. By the way, don't just pick somebody who tells you they're successful. I see this all the time in organizations. Someone tells you that you're successful, so you get advice from them. The problem is you get really bad advice. Try to know their numbers, not only know your numbers, but know their numbers before you start taking advice from them. So get mentors who you know are successful. Take their advice so you can figure out what 6 things you need to do. Don't reinvent the wheel. Do 6 things 1,000 times, not 1,000 things 6 times. I do that whole speech to people. And I'm telling you, a month later, They come up to me with some bonehead, stupid idea that they think is going to change everything for them. And I just shake my head. Seriously, it is. If I had to pick just one, and that's difficult, this would be it. People constantly are looking for bright, shiny objects. It's the #1 problem. But I don't have much energy on this one. Over to you, Mike.
Oh yeah, that is definitely going to be a game stopper. If you're trying to scale your business and you're chasing bright, shiny objects, you're just not going to get to that next level. And it really goes back to the topic we just talked about. You know, when these new ideas or new opportunities, whatever they are, the first thing they should be filtered through is your mission statement. Okay, does it filter through your mission statement? Is it the how you are going to grow your business? And I look at one of the functions of my mission statement is to create my not-to-do list. And the more things go on my not-to-do list allows me to do 6 things 1,000 times instead of 1,000 things 6 times.
Yeah, your not-to-do list is brilliant. If you know your mission, your vision and your mission, and you know what you're supposed to be doing, that helps you determine whether some opportunity comes to you, whether that is a true opportunity or a distraction. Because oftentimes somebody else's opportunity becomes your distraction. Mm-hmm. They have this opportunity and they're going to share it with you. That becomes your new bright, shiny object. Unless that is totally and completely on mission and on your plan that you know works, don't get sidetracked with a lot of opportunities, because they are oftentimes, in fact, distractions.
I have another question. So what are some of the things that will stop a business owner from taking the steps to grow their business?
Listen, I'm happy to talk briefly on this one, and Mike, if you've got something. This one, I don't get this one. I mean, I understand the question, and I'm asked the question a lot. It's a good question. I don't, it doesn't resonate with me personally as much as some people. I think there's fear. I think there's anxiety. I think there's worry, and that all of these things kind of stop people. So it's not to say that I'm not afraid of things. There are things that happen that I'm very concerned about. It's not to say that I don't have anxiety over decisions. But years ago, I came to the conclusion that inaction is in fact an action. It's resolving to do nothing. And that as a rule, there are exceptions. Sometimes doing nothing is the best thing. But that's a planned decision to do nothing. So sometimes, generally speaking, doing nothing is not a good choice. You have to create that plan and then work to it. And then there's this fear. And I've always felt that if this is my plan, here are my choices. I can do nothing, and I know I will not achieve what I want. Or I can do something, and I might achieve what I want. But doing nothing will not get me where I want to go. Staying put will not get me where I want to go. So I tend to put my head down and move forward. And I say I don't get it because if I'm in business and I want my business to be successful and I want to help other people, then there should, the only thing generally stopping someone from doing something is their own inaction, or going many different directions. So I don't think I have a better answer. It was certainly a longer answer than I expected, but not a better answer than that. Mike?
I would agree, Ivan. I think most of the things that hold people back in their business is happening up here, not in the environment, not around them. It's up here. Fear being one. Sometimes it's the fear of not having control. Now I have as I scale, that means other people are doing what you used to do. Yeah. And that means, you have, multiple locations and other stakeholders. And the other side can be, paralysis through analysis. Ivan's got a saying, ignorance on fire is better than knowledge on ice. So you do want to have a plan, but you don't have to have all the answers. Right. Sometimes, like you said, you just need to take the step.
Right. I had a mentor years ago that said to me, Ivan, don't worry about making mistakes. You will. It's inevitable. So what you need to do when you make a mistake is recognize it quickly and fix it. If you need to, plead guilty to whoever you have, hurt with that error, and then move forward. So don't worry about making mistakes. You will. And work past your fears. Work past what other people are telling you, unless they're your mentors who you really believe in and trust. Just move forward and find opportunities. There's an old story, it's probably a story, not true, but it's a powerful story, about these two shoe salesmen that both went to the same developing nation, and their company sent them to sell their products. And they got to this developing nation, and very few people even wore shoes in this country, and the company got 2 telegrams back, completely different, one from each guy. The first guy said, "I'm coming home, nobody wears shoes here, we'll never sell." The second guy wrote back to the company and said, "Send more material, this is the perfect place, nobody's wearing shoes." Which one's going to be more successful? It's that second guy. So when you see what could be a problem, look at it as an opportunity. And I think you're going to be a lot more successful. Most of my success in business has come from looking at opportunities because of problems that I saw. Great question.
So I have a question. How do you get past the person who says, but no one, because this goes to the delegation, no one can do it like I do it?
Yeah, you'll fail. I mean, you are destined to fail with that attitude. Either that, or you might want to find a business where only you can do it. Yeah, I read a book years ago. I can't remember the name of the book, and something about business growth. It was an obscure book, not a well-known book, but he had a really interesting analogy in it. He said, if you want to build a successful business, do you want to use the watchmaker model or the beehive model? And the way he laid it up there, you're thinking, well, the watchmaker, professional, very concise, detail-oriented, perfect. And he said, no, you want the beehive model, because it may look like chaos, but that is the most organized chaos in the world. And the watchmaker is just by him or herself in a room, in a corner, with a bright light and magnifying glasses, fixing watches. If you want to be a watchmaker, that's the way to do it. But if you want to scale a business, you got to be a beehive. And so you got to learn how to coordinate with many, many, many other people. And the beehive model is a better model for scaling than the watchmaker model. Does that answer?
Yes. I think that's awesome. Mike, do you have anything you want to add?
Yeah, in many cases, the business owner is the most talented person at the moment, because you're the only one. And for those that are in that solopreneur model right now in state, I want you to just consider this. It is very vulnerable. It's the most vulnerable model you can have. I was working with a woman. She had staff, so she had people that were supporting her, but all of the new business coming on board relied on her exclusively. And when I pointed out that business was so vulnerable, because if something happened to her, not only would her business suffer, but she would have to lose her employees, which meant the world to her. Yeah. And what a revelation that was for her. And immediately she went out and recruited somebody else to do business development with her. And now she's creating a more scalable business. It could be extremely vulnerable when nobody can do it as good as you can.
Yeah, and look, there may be elements of a business that nobody can do as good as you can, but I bet you could immediately pick areas of any business where somebody can do it better than you can. For example, when I started BNI, I was in all 15 of those boxes. And I knew from the beginning there were things that this wasn't, not only was it not my flame, it was not my best skill set, like accounting, paying the bills. I could do it. I hated it. And I wasn't great at it. And so what you want to do is you want to find somebody whose flame is accounting. So, if I do the books and I'm off by $50 on balancing, I'm fine. That's a It's a, a rounding error. I'm fine with that. But I want to hire somebody who, if they're off by 50 cents, they can't sleep at night. I'm gonna find that 50 cents item. And so that's the kind of person I want. So you want to find people who are better than you immediately in those areas you don't like doing. Now, those areas you do like doing, you want to do exactly what Mike said, and that is you can't be vulnerable. If the company loses you, that means that everything's going to fall apart, so you've got to start training your replacement. And, you'll find there are actually people better at some pieces of what you do than you do, and certainly than what you may think. Great question.
So feel free to let go. So we are almost before, so everybody don't leave, because remember, we go backstage and you can ask us questions backstage for 15 minutes. But before we do that, Mike, Ivan, do you have any closing comments you'd like to make? Ivan,
you go first.
Oh, there are so many things, it took me, I like to tell people I'm a 20-year overnight success. It took me 20 years to really build and scale a business. And so my advice is take the ideas that we are giving you here now and behind the stage and start applying them and then give it time. These Silicon Valley overnight successes are really rare. To me, the secret to success without hard work is still a secret. It takes hard work, it takes focus, it takes planning, and it takes lifelong learning. And to that, I'm speaking to the choir because you're here trying to learn how to build your business more successfully, and I congratulate you for that. Mike?
I just to build onto that, these are 4 things, and they are must-haves. If you want to scale that business, these are the 4 things you absolutely want to start with and put in place. Ivan, thank you for participating in this show today. I can't think of anybody with a better insight on scaling a business in the way you have since your beginning in the garage in 1985 to what you've created for many people and opportunities for people around the world. And then also call out to Nanette. Thank you, Nanette, for, again, hosting our show, organizing our show, always making it look and feel so easy. Thank you very much, and to our audience participating.
So with that, I have a surprise because Mike has been really kind to give an offering for the next show. And that is, we would love to have you win an opportunity to have a consultation with Mike. And this is what it's going to take. It's going to take for you to fill out a business intake form and submit it to him. So that's really easy. I can get you the form. All you have to do is email me at nanetep@asentiv.com, and I will put that in the chat box in one moment here so you can have it. Get that to me, and I will forward the document to you, and then I will make sure that Mike gets it, and he'll review it, and then he's going to pick a person to have a free consultation with him. And I have to tell you, you so want to be that person. So please do. Also, we want to tell you what's coming up in the next couple of months. So next month, we are ending the first quarter of the year, and some of you may be saying, my sales cycle is just killing me. It's longer than I expected. So what's going to happen is that we're going to talk about my sales cycle is longer than expected. What do I do? So that's going to be April. And in May, because your sales cycle has now gotten smaller, we're going to talk about how to put your life back in harmony. So the next 2 months are going to be pretty exciting, and we'll have a great show for you. So don't go away. We're going to stop the recording in one moment here, but we're all going to stay around, and you'll be able to ask us questions and talk with us a little bit more. But we really want to thank you for joining us on the Spectacular Entrepreneur Show. So you don't have to be perfect at this. So it's great to be with you. See you next month, and we'll see you backstage.